Today I'm following a stretch of river that is shaped by the logging industry, the railroads, and the canals. First thing I want to look at is a pier from a railroad bridge that was built in the 1800s, which the bridge you see here was built around 1930s, but replaced this older wooden bridge that came into Linden right here on River Left, and there's still a large pier left behind from it. Now this is private property. I'm not going to get out and look too close around this pier, and there is some structures almost right on top of this pier that are private property. But this is a good starting location for today because we're looking for what's left behind on the river, including the history. And even today, with what might be left behind with modern civilization, which includes a lot of litter and plastic and other things that we're going to see washed up on the island we're going to go to, which I'm going to call, temporarily, I'm going to call it Boom Island, but it's in the Long Reach area of Williamsport, the Newberry area. Over here on River Right, you can see a bald eagle flying right now. That's kind of cool. So I guess I can start by getting the camera ready. So the river looks clear, so I'm gonna make my way to the middle. awesome footage of the crib structure that's kind of hidden in these rocks here, more exposed underwater. And some of these places even had 90-degree joints where they spiked them together, or they notched out the wood to line up the wood together, kind of like a log home. Just impressive that they did hundreds of these throughout this whole section of river. And lots of repairs, maintenance, and then I believe they even took them down every year and replaced a lot of the structure every year. Here's another one. Some old logs here. Kind of a little square here. One log coming out, big log here, and then a joint there. The joint is kind of misplaced and destroyed there on that one. And then a lot of buildup of sediment along the sides of them. But sometimes you can see down, and it's just layers and layers and layers of giant logs from over 100 years ago. They had an abundance of logs during the log boom. And it was easy to make some of these structures with the logs just constantly floating down the river. Here's another one here. And this one has a hole in the end of it, kind of like it was used for a joint. Some other pieces of wood that goes parallel, were perpendicular this way and then perpendicular across the island. And right here you can see one log's above the water on the island here. And then under that is more stacks of logs. I'll flip the kayak around so the GoPro can see it a little bit better. And then down here underwater, there's stacks and stacks and stacks, kind of like a corner of a log home. So we're gonna head on down to these next few islands and explore some more. And so this is an old log boom log. Kind of cool to see one out of the water. First one this size I've seen out of the water. I don't know if there's spike holes. There's a hole right here about 2 feet from the surface. And then there's a notch about another foot past that. So 3 foot down from the surface line here, there's a triangular notch in it. And this was definitely a milled piece of log. This could have came from Burnside, Mahaffey, Kerwinsville, Clearfield area. This is a really cool find here, just pointing out of the water. If you can imagine 150 years ago, just millions of logs coming through this area. And these cribs were built here to help guide the logs down further. And the cribs ended at the end of our trip today. But this river was shaped by lumber, especially through this area here. And this is a good example of that. Then the railroad industry kind of took over once the floods ripped apart the log boom cribs. You would have had a canal on the north side of the river here, carrying canal boats up the river. And now today you have recreational boats and kayaks and recreational canoes. And with that comes a lot of litter, and it's not just, you know, a community localized problem here. And it's not the fishermen, it's not recreational folks enjoying a boat ride or a kayak trip. It's everybody that takes part in the litter. I mean, we could have litter coming from halfway up that mountain. Eventually, it's probably going to end up in the river here. And it's a region-wide problem with the litter. And it all goes downstream. It all comes to the river. It's all going to flow by this island here. It might get caught up on the island here for a few years, and then a major flood's going to come and take it down to the next island, and eventually it's going to the Chesapeake Bay and into the ocean. So just like the logs, like we saw there, are telling a story of what's left behind in the river, nowadays our litter and pollution and everything we leave behind is telling a story on the river. But this is interesting and kind of impressive. You can see how the river tears up the head of this island here, and there's even some lightweight plastic on the tip of it there, suggesting that the water comes up and over top of this during really big floods. Kind of undercuts this bank a little bit. This piece of wood probably washed up here, but someone propped it up against the log. And here we have a couple pieces of plastic and metal. Some plastic shrapnel kind of tangled in with the roots of this tree. Some kind of plastic fitting of some sort. Some geese. A Jeep tire. Goodyear Wrangler, all terrain. Spotted lanternflies, juvenile stage. I've been seeing so many of these in our area here in Lycoming County. There's an adult one, and these boogers are fast. I always feel bad for killing creatures, even if they are invasive, but I mean, you kill one and then there's still thousands of them all over this tree. You can see how the leaves are kind of eaten, possibly it looks like. I mean, there's just lanternflies everywhere on this tree. Juveniles and adults. It's a much bigger problem than just killing a few at a time, that's for sure. Some plastic intertwined in them roots down in there. Some metal shelving. Some heavier pieces of metal here, small piece, a big piece of sheet metal. Some shredded plastic in there, looks like a garbage bag. Styrofoam, plastic jug, aluminum can, some milled wood, plastic chip bag. And we have a couple cribs down through here. Here's a bigger island there. Used to be a crib. Same thing here, another crib that was overlaid with rocks to either preserve them or so they don't fall apart. And so here's a metal shovel head, spade, and very deteriorated. The metal's just gonna flake off of this. How long do you think it would take for a metal shovel to rust out like that? Look at the dirt on this island here. This is probably a good 2.5 feet down from the surface up here, and the high water has ripped the head of this island apart. But you can see the stuff that's buried in this island. Some metal can top, used to be glass. This is the metal lid to it. Looks like a metal can there. Some glass, shingles. We're kind of seeing different layers of history of this island. And this stuff is really deep, 2.5 feet down. Go down further, looks like pieces of coal here. Actually, charcoal. So coal from wood. There was a shovel right here, kind of pointed into the ground. Then there's another shovel right here. Both the same kind of wear to them, kind of rotted away. Why is there so many shovels here on the head of the island? Old hollowed out piece of metal. Same condition as the shovels, just heavily rusted through. I don't really recognize this shape of product or whatever it is. A little hole on the top. So I found this bottle top, and it's got this gnarled top on it. I've never seen that on glass before. Something like you might see on a metal grip on a tool or something, how it's just gnarled. It's pretty thick glass. Have you ever seen a gnarled bottle top out of glass? Some kind of a metal sheet. It's got some rags underneath of it. Another piece of it over here. And this is all the way up a good 20 feet on this island, if not more. Kind of a good overlook of the cribs here from the top of this island. Metal barrel of some kind. Rotted away. Looks pretty old. Here's a lantern fly right here. See if we can get him. Well, I got him, pushed him into the sand, but there's 1,000 more up that tree that I can't get. 1,000 more on that tree. Probably 1,000 more on that tree. Easter bunny basket. Could be a planter. Of course, more and bigger knotweed. This is not your island, knotweed. Some lanternflies love it. Of course they do. This is a cool piece of driftwood. It's really nice. It's solid too. So we saw a lot more litter and debris at the head of the island, of course. And then it dwindles down the further you go down the island. Heading back downriver. I'm seeing something hanging from this tree here. It looks like plastic. Not sure why it would be hanging though. Maybe it's caught onto a fish. It's a boat. Is it really a boat? Or is it a paddle? What? It's a boat. I found a boat. Toad. Dang, it's heavy. Down. Take a picture of it right now and send it to him, and the phone number I can text it right to his phone. Messages sent. So we're about halfway down through the island, and I've been looking at collection points along the way, and I don't see a lot of litter, except for this large powerboat that I found. And the owner was contacted by phone already, and he said he lost it 2 days ago, so it hasn't been there very long. It doesn't look like it's been in the water that long. To peace. There's some metal debris. Looks like a boat dock. Plastic bottle. Bathroom. Some metal. You can see these hinges here with some rope tied onto them. Makes me think it's a boat dock that washed down. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get out here and see what we can see on the other side of the island. Yep. Long metal hardware attached to this log. Satellite dish. Looks like the framework for a satellite dish. Little cushion. That's a vest. Aluminum can. Now the cribs will shoot right off the tail of this island over to the next island. Plastic material on the ground. More of the rubber foam. This side doesn't look as clean as the other side. It makes sense because most of the river is over on this side. More plastic bottles, foam. Some kind of a deflated liquid ball of some sort with a smiley face on it. Plastic inner tube. And the find of the day. It's a nice lure. It's already got most of the hooks removed for me. Let me guess, 50-pound braid line now? Monofilament. I guess I'll take that line too. Here's a good look at the line of cribs that comes down this side of the island. More plastic, wooden skids. And the longer you're here, the more you start to notice there's some synthetic fibers buried into the ground, chewing tobacco container, plastic bag that I'm not about to touch. Probably another tobacco container. Here we see a plastic bottle. Little light bulb. Got some really nice pieces of driftwood too. Tire in the ground. Plastic bottle. Here is a strap. Right through this piece of wood. Plastic bag. Plastic wrapper. siding, plastic wrapper, plastic handle, glass bottle, plastic bottle, glass bottle, styrofoam, wooden nails, kind of plastic or PVC piping. Plastic bubble wrap. Maybe that came out of the package I saw earlier. Yeah. Plastic sandal, size 10M. Some wood, metal screws, another tire, plastic, glass. Mount Olive pickle or an olive jar. I'm going to come over here and see if I can get someone to wave at me on the Hiawatha. Got 1, 2, 3. And here is the tail of the island. And another lure. So the crayfish bomber 4A. So we're at the tail of Long Boom Island, and you can see the cribs come off the tail of this island and curve over towards the island right before Arch Street Bridge. And that's going to be the area where we're going to look for the bullpen, which is a unique set of cribs in kind of a right angle. And why it's called the bullpen, I do not yet know, but we shall find out. So the tail of this island is not as clean as the tail of the last island that we went to below Market Street Bridge, but the head of this island was cleaner than the head of that island. But the river side of this island is a lot worse compared to the no wake side of the island or the south side of the island. So you've seen Boom Island now, so leave a rating on what you think the litter level is here on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 being absolutely clean and perfect, which it's not, and 5 being the worst place as far as litter goes that you've ever seen, which it's not that either, so it's somewhere in between there. Get off this island, have a look at these cribs. this is the last crib that's above water. And the same thing as we've seen before, there's perpendicular logs and the fish jumped out. Big log right down the middle. And so here, this may be the last crib. And it ended right where there used to be a split in the island here. There's a bald eagle flying above us. I think it's a bald eagle. I'm going to try and get that quick. Going right over top of me. Looks like an osprey. I'm going. And so the end of these cribs had like a 90 that would go over to the bank then. And they called it the bullpen. At least that's what the one at the end of the island is called. I'm not seeing any more with the line of them cribs. And the way these rocks are laid out here, looks like this would be the last crib. And from here they would offload the logs onto the land, into the mills. Oil container, and the plastic oil bottle. Tell me that's another powerboat up there. There's no way I found another. No, that's got to be like a piece of spouting or something. It's got like the same angle. What is going on with the powerboats in the river? This looks like it could be the same owner, the way it's taped off on the top. So it's got the same tail. So check it out. Found 2 RC powerboats today. One's got its owner's name and phone number on it. It looks brand new. I talked to the guy, he said he lost it 2 days ago. This was floating upright in the river. And then we have this one I found looking at the shore. Looks a little dry rotted. It's definitely been here a lot longer than 2 days. What are the odds you find 2 powerboats in 2 different places of the river? So I'm changing the plans today. I'm calling it a day. I'm going to skip over trying to explore the bullpen. It's around 5:30. And it's time to go home and get some dinner. After I meet the guy to pick up his powerboats. So I had a little look around that beach there. I didn't see any more powerboats. But I'm sure if I look hard enough, I might find about 5 more today. But lots of plastic on that beach. Metal cables, tires, the usual. I'd give that beach somewhere around a 3 or a 4, maybe a 4. There isn't really any lightweight collection areas there, but there was still lots of litter to be found, including another powerboat. So the coast is clear for me to cross the river here, as long as that boat don't come around. And we will call that a day.